Alright, welcome back, dudes and dudettes. And as you can see, we're already off to a bad start because episode 3 and we just can't seem to get away from the VTube meta. Let's jump right in and see what this is all about. Apparently this is about a VTuber reacting to, you know, stuff that's going on with men lately.
Hi, YouTube. More heavier topics. I know, it's not memes, it's not funny ha-has, but I still hope you can enjoy this video. The one that we're watching today is called Men Are Slowly Giving Up and Nobody Cares. I kind of feel that, even though I'm not a guy. Society these days are very different from what it was like even 10 years ago, so I do feel it, and I do want to know, what exactly Moon, the creator, is talking about. So let's take a look together. I'm going to form my opinion throughout the video, so I will probably not say too much at the very beginning. Towards the end, and at the end, I'll give you guys my full. If you are a dude,
a chatter. She is a chatter.
Not dude.
Definitely a chatter.
Smell flowers amongst the sea of sausage.
Increasingly, more and more men are giving up. Giving up on relationships, careers, and society as a whole. Resentment is growing, unemployment is becoming rampant, and keeping your head above water seems almost impossible for many men today. This is leading to more men than ever dropping out of society entirely. And it's not just that, men are becoming infantilized. With hyperactivity now becoming normal, it's clear that something ugly is happening that needs to be addressed. We live in such a strained, unnatural environment.
Okay, that I did not know. You guys are being infantilized? Whatever that word is called.
That is bound to start to wear on society. But men in particular are battling to keep up and are slowly giving up. Giving up on dreams, giving up on trying, and giving up on doing anything constructive. And for a large part, it's really not their fault. As this trend isn't just a personal struggle, but a societal issue that we must urgently address. So why is this happening? And why has it gotten so bad in 2024? We have all the technology we need, food delivered to your door with the tap of a finger, dating readily available to anyone with a simple swipe, any products, items, or experiences that you want can be.
I mean, dating apps are pretty ass. But I get the point, but not on that particular vector, right? Like dating, that's its own story, right?
Without any value placed on higher goals, where there just is no reason to care.
Wait, really? People don't care about higher goals anymore. Wait, who feels like that in chat right now? Who feels like they don't have motivation or they don't have a goal in mind right now? Oh, surprise, motherfucker! Oh, that's a lot of people!
He's surprised. He was very surprised. I don't blame her. I'm not gonna hold her to it. She just had no idea.
Okay, I did not expect the stats to be this high, because I thought it was just memes, people being edgy, talking about, unaliving. I thought
Oh, she's got a lot to learn, this little Gwili. She thought people were just being funny and Mr. Edgelord 69, but no, it's real. When guys are talking about them not seeing the point, comes from actual, legitimate, genuine dissatisfaction with, have you gone outside? Have you, been at, no diss to this VTuber, but it's just, you should go outside a little bit and see how, the outside world works, and you'll see that kind of, it'll kind of hit, depending on where you're at, I guess, depending on what kind of state you are, what the whole social vibe of your neighborhood is, you could really tell. It doesn't take that much to go to your local fast food place, local park even, and just see how detached everything is. It's real.
That was just a meme. That's a lot of people on average with a span of 2 weeks to have thought about that. That's scary.
And we're seeing the symptoms of this problem everywhere. The sapping away of our vision and ambition permeates in all aspects of modern society today. Our culture, architecture, relationships, bodies, and minds. Past civilizations before us have always placed their emphasis on beauty, wisdom, and logic for all the population to see. Comfort, lust, and opulence, and flashy materialism over individual excellence and greater community, we're now reeling in the aftermath, becoming instead a generation of mandated mediocrity. And does this explain why men today seem to struggle more than ever while seemingly having more than ever? America in particular is not actually in a recession. In fact, on paper, the economy looks like the best it's been in a while. Unemployment has dropped, GDP is up, But what the people are actually experiencing is a
don't know about
completely
that.
different
I
story.
don't know about that
You can see
one,
this in a
Chief.
study by the University of Michigan on consumer sentiments, which gathers data based on how consumers feel about the current state of
Unemployment is
finances. In
job. Where are
2022,
the
it dropped
jobs?
to an
Where are they
all-time
at?
low.
Shit.
Prices of our average daily needs like gas and food have
I'm
increased in
looking.
unbearable percentages. In contrast, salary increases do not match, putting a high strain on budgets.
Yep.
Inflation is showing no signs of slowing down as Americans pay over $1,000 a month more on the same essentials we were buying 3 years ago. Nothing's changed but price. The latest consumer price index for March showing basic necessities like our food, housing, and gas are all continuing to cripple Americans' wallets with higher
So
prices.
nodding is her
Yep.
thing.
Inflations
Yep.
our
Big
wages are
nodder.
actually down
Nod greedily.
against
our
inflation since
minimum
Biden
wage is
took
not
office.
increasing
So
at
not
all.
only are prices soaring, but our wages, at least if you measure hourly wages, are not keeping up at all.
How many times I've had jobs in the past and they get their supervisors or managers to try to hype everybody up and be all like, hey, if you work really well, there's a raise in it, and it never actually comes to light. In the years that I've worked jobs, man, that I've worked day jobs, not one time have I ever been part of any kind of raise. It does not happen. It just doesn't happen. Anyone who's watching who's doing a day job, if like supervisors or managers start talking to you about like, hey, perform well and you might get a raise, they're talking out their ass. They're just talking straight out their ass. There's no raise. Get you to work harder for free. You didn't hear that from me though.
Not just men either. This is the entire generation right now. It's like inflation sucks. Like everything is going up in price except your salary. Like your rent is going up, the food items and necessities are going up. Nothing else is. Your salary is still the same. So how are you affording anything? So when you look at somebody and like you're the older generation is like, why are you not buying a house? Like you should be saving. But like save what? There is nothing to save. And for us to be happy, we have to spend it, because if we don't spend it, we cannot even make ourselves happy in the moment, then everything's gonna end right there, you know?
Okay,
Rich,
there you go. She gets it. She's on the ball right there. So it's like that. She's onto it. She's on that. She hit it right there. It's just like you have people who are like, I would like to save, but the fact that I can't even save, even if I tried, I might as well just use the very little scraps that I have just to satisfy me right now and just to take my mind off of it, knowing that it's just self-destructive behavior. But it's like sunk cost fallacy type shit, man. It's a trap.
Universities have skyrocketed in prices to absurd levels. The housing market is in a complete giant bubble. Everyone's sending out job applications more and more, all while using these automated testing systems, applying up to 100 jobs.
Dude, like getting a job used to be like so organic, man. Gone are the days, dude, where you could just walk into a job, right? Like, and you just kind of hit it off with whoever. If they're urgently hiring, you're very likely to, like, if you hit it off well in the interview, like they'll probably like just straight up ask you, hey, when are you able to like come in and do your first, shift or whatever. You just tell them, yeah, next week or something. They put you on the onboarding and boom, you're set and you're there. Like, gone are those days where you could just pull that off. Now you gotta go through a whole big ass list, that they got a big list of applicants, and they're just like, yeah, we get applications every day. Like literally you go in to apply and the interview is just very nonchalant. They don't even really care. There's no like personality to the interview itself. And not only that, but then they tell you, oh yeah, we get so many applicants per day. Like, how's that supposed to make me feel as someone coming in trying to work? Like, that doesn't make me feel better at all. You might as well just not tell me at all how many applicants you get. I'd rather not know, because you tell me that and I'm like, oh, well, for sure I'm probably not landing this one.
A day and still not getting anywhere.
I saw this when I was like younger, when I was still doing part-time jobs. Still, this one part-time job, everybody who was applying, obviously there was people that were as young as me, but then I saw somebody as old as like 50 applying for the same part-time in a retail store. At that point I was like, why are you here? Even back then, jobs has been pretty competitive in Canada, at least. People who got fired from their office job at like 50 are like competing with like students for part-time jobs at a retail in a mall. That's crazy.
Useless degrees, just shit falling back from people's marriages and all that, shit hitting the fan. There's all kinds of ways that things could just go wrong, and you end up with people. It's embarrassing. I would say it's embarrassing the amount of people that end up having to resort to crappy day jobs that they have no business working, and they're just like, man, the situation makes it that I have to do this. Like, I don't belong here, but you know, it happens to the best of us, that you end up applying for a job that you're overqualified for, and it's just like, what?
Companies can find workers. Most of us know most people are not applying, or they don't want to anymore because people are so greedy. These companies are so greedy, they give you the least amount of money possible because they know people were competitive. People are applying to everything they can get. Companies can now abuse your salary because they know, well, you know, if you don't want it, somebody else will. And so now, why would you work hard for a company who pays you the same as, you know, if you were doing Uber? Whereas if you're doing Uber, you can be in your own bubble, nobody can yell at you, but you're still getting paid more or less the same. Companies want experience for entry-level jobs. That's insane. They're asking for a degree, for years of experience, for something entry-level. So at this point, people are sick of it. People were applying at first, but now they're like, why should I do that when I know they're gonna pay me shit? I know the conditions gonna be shit too, when I can just go flip burgers and at least, you know, be in my own hand, earning a little bit less than the entry level. That's what.
Okay, so somebody peep the utensils. This wheelie's cooking. She's cooking.
I was saying too, the other day when I said if I were to graduate, or like if I were to not be a VTuber, I'd rather just be if I were to get a part-time doing freelance, I would want to be a barista at a Starbucks, because then at least I'll still be earning, you know, minimum wage, but I don't have to deal with all the bullshit that a company has to deal with in Corba.
And the results of this are clear. People are drifting towards more unfulfilling jobs, or just not even having a job at all. While the rich...
Yeah, you definitely, if you gotta be working a minimum wage, not doing customer service is probably the way to go. At least for someone like me, I'd rather just do something more physical and that deals with less customers, just less stress, and just like, I'd rather just put my body, me personally. Now, everybody kind of has their own preferences, but yeah, just try to avoid as much responsibility as possible. Try to just work a minimum wage job that doesn't have you having to answer to so many things, because you could get fired for so many dumb reasons.
Basically, what they want to do is create a nation of renters. BlackRock coming in and giving them more money than the house is worth.
How much more do they give?
They can give them, you know, 30% above.
Really?
Which is money.
And then they just
it's
lease those
BlackRock.
homes out.
And they lease them out. It's part of this idea that home ownership and automobile ownership and all of these things, these legacy systems that people want to get rid of. And they go, rent a house, use Uber, Lyft, whatever. You know, you don't need to own. What does owning do for you? That's that famous article, you'll own nothing and be happy.
Right.
The jobs they once had a chance of landing now go to the middle class, while they get hit above
She keeps doing
putting
it.
millions of people in dire straits.
Like now, people with degrees and experience are now doing minimum wage, regular jobs that used to belong to the lower class. I'm saying this, I feel like I belong in the middle, at least my parents are. I'm saying that as a descendant of a middle class person, right? It definitely does feel like that. I feel like I've worked more in part-time retail more than I have in my actual job after graduating from university. That's crazy, that's crazy.
My word is embarrassing for society. It's very freaking embarrassing. It's embarrassing. The school system is a freaking joke. Just goes to show that the schools are just not preparing people for work life. That what jobs are looking for has nothing to do with what you learn at school, the values and everything. You get a degree and you would think, oh, those, 3 or 4 years or whatever, however much it is that you put into that degree is like a sign of like, hey, look, this is my dedication. I went through this. I went through a set amount of time of going through bull crap like this. The diploma itself saying that I went through a commitment to pass school should be enough to like at least get my foot in the door and be like, okay, we can try to get you in on something. And it doesn't. So it doesn't matter. It leads to this embarrassing situation where you have people who are just way more capable than doing, just straight monkey work. I don't know.
Imagine putting in the hours and effort to get a degree and then having to take a job that's not even within the field you studied for. Well, this is just regular life for most people nowadays. It's making men feel incredibly depressed and isolated. They watch all this stuff on social media. They see people flexing the Rolexes on their Instagram stories.
And then you have to go to a family gathering. You ain't seen a lot of your family for a while, man. And then you know, the typical conversations that just come about when, you know, as a family get together, people ain't seen each other in a minute. Oh, what are you doing? This and that. How are things? And it's just kind of like, that's that dreadful question, man. That it's just like, what are you doing? It's like, man, I don't know where to start, for one. And two, I don't even want to talk about it because everything is so crap that I don't even want to discuss. Oh, but how, you know, you went to school, you studied this, right? Yeah. Only it didn't matter. So back to, you know, step one, basically.
Where they have people so desperate, so in need of experience,
That's what I'm
they
saying,
can treat their workers like absolute trash.
Companies can keep lowering and lowering the wages because they know people are gonna willing to take it. If you don't want it because the salary's too low, well, somebody else will. So companies have no problem being shameless and tell you to work this many hours before only this amount of salary. They have no shame now.
It's so abusive, man. Like, they pay you just enough to keep you crawling back like a goddamn cockroach, man. They pay you, they want to pay you just enough that you're just like eating scraps out of your fridge, man. Downright criminal, I would say, man.
Since the 1980s, testosterone levels have dropped more than 50%, and yet we're told to ignore it. Why?
Wait,
Because
really?
there's a coordinated effort to suppress masculinity and turn men into something they were never meant to be. This decline is no accident. We're constantly exposed to harmful chemicals in our food and everyday products, bombarded with estrogenic chemicals from plastics, junk food, and sedentary lifestyles.
Junk food can lower testosterone? I didn't know that. I didn't know that. Wait, really? I thought it was also all a meme when people say, oh, the testosterones are lowering. Alcohol consumption can reduce testosterone production. That too! Oh, shit. Okay, I did not know that.
Well,
Dropped
now you
among
know,
60-year-olds in
really.
2000. The cost of having a job also plays a part in stripping them of their dignity. Transport costs to their job, depending on the amount, could take a huge chunk of their salary, so that at the end of the day, they can only pay for rent or food and not
Wait,
both.
bunking her with
Government grants could
acorns?
replace
What
their
the hell is
salaries, and
that?
they earn more or less the same amount.
What's also helping to pay the bills is, as I said, the U.S. government, in particular, our disability programs
I hate
for
when they
people
get,
who are unable to work.
This is really annoying. I hate when they get like people who are really old and not like within the generation that is like mainly suffering to like try to speak on our issues, because they're usually very disconnected. No disrespect to this guy, but I highly doubt every time I see this guy speak on like modern issues of men, it's just there's a certain level of like disconnection, and it's just like, ah, man, just please don't speak on like a generation that you're very like, this dude is like 2 whole generations off the mark, man. Can we get some other representative? Jesus.
Those programs seem to have morphed away from their original humane intention and now seem to provide an alternative income source to regular employment for several millions, for millions and millions of these guys.
You land a job, good luck keeping it. You gotta, it's nothing is certain. There's just nothing certain. So I think what it is that we're just in this entrepreneur self-employment era. We're trying to get a job and trying to like maintain a part-time job. It's good if you can get it, but at the end of the day, you're just so easily replaceable, man. You might as well take the entrepreneur like route and just risk it, pretty much. Risk it for all the biscuits, because like, what else are you gonna do? Are you gonna lose everything? Are you gonna basically lose everything trying to be safe, or are you gonna lose or are you just gonna go out swinging, like by trying to like make something big of an idea that you have? You might as well go with the latter, right? Like, you might as well just go out swinging, and if you burst in a fiery blitz, then hey, you tried, right? Whereas like the former is just kind of like pain and suffering guaranteed.
Men with families are actually switching their roles with their wives,
Listen up,
except they're not
boy.
actually doing what their wives would do if they were to stay at home.
When you look at what I guess in Britain is called NEET, N-E-E-T, do you say that also in Australia? Neither employed nor in education or training. When you look at that huge group of well over 6 million prime age men, the story they're telling about their lives is really pretty devastating. It's pretty distressing. They basically don't do civil society. There's almost no worship, almost no volunteering, almost no charitable work. They've got a lot of time on their hands, but they...
Nobody thinks they'll be that position until they're in it. Depression isn't just feeling bad, it's feeling apathetic, nothing motivated to do anything that's non-existent. No, that's true. I was pretty much, the reason why I came back to
lack of motivation is a bitch. I'm gonna say it right now. It sucks. Now, I don't think, I still think that that's like weird to like, I mean, if you have a significant other that's like pulling the weight, I think the least you could do is at least like show what you can do and do chores around and just like really try to like put your mood by the side and just do your due diligence, right? So I myself personally find some kind of weirdness in that, but I do understand that lack of motivation will be very self-destructive. It's just destructive like in like no matter what situation, man. Like just not having motivation and not having a will, it kills your performance as a guy. It really does.
Canada to be with my parents again because I was in a very depressive moment where like my house wasn't clean, my apartment wasn't clean, I was earning barely anything, and I stayed up to like 5 a.m., 6 a.m., 7 a.m. every single day.
Yeah. Good place to start. If anyone's in this situation, clean your room. Cleaning your room will do a lot. It's a great start to kind of like reset. Just clean your room, redecorate, put things in boxes, shove some things in a tight knit area, move things around, throw away a lot of stuff. You'll be amazed with like what that does to your head, and then you can just start thinking more clearly.
Well, not every single day. When I was not working, at least there was a period of time where I had a bit of vacation and I was sleeping very late, and I was pretty much depressed to the point that I didn't do anything productive. It's not like I'm saying I don't get you guys. I totally do because I was there. It's hard for me to say right now because I am doing a lot better, but even I don't have a secure future. Like, what if this doesn't work out? You know, what I'm gonna do? I will have no experiences. I will have a gap year. There will be a moment in my life where like, I didn't do anything related to my actual career field, right? And even me, if I wasn't doing this, if I were to quit streaming content creation, what would I do? I'll be flipping burgers too. I think a lot of us are in the same boat where the future is, we're not sure. People who are, maybe you don't even have a job right now, you're just waiting in limbo.
Yeah, it's a big limbo. It's just uncertainty. I cannot fathom the amount of conversations of millennials and zoomers talking to their Gen X and boomer parents about like, hey, I'm probably not gonna give you grandchildren. You okay with that? I don't know what's gonna come of my life, so I'm just gonna kind of roll with whatever happens. It's sad.
And I just want you to know that you're not alone. A lot of people are like you. Don't get fooled by your family or your social media. Don't think that everybody's out there having a good life except for you. You're not a failure. You know, it's just unlucky. You're just in the wrong time. If the economy was better, I know for a fact you guys can get a job too. I just want you to know that you're not alone. And if you're lonely, you're unmotivated, and you know that, well, first of all, by acknowledging it, you're already doing so much better. By acknowledging that you're not doing much, that it's a problem, that is the first step already. So if you did that, that's already a good sign.
Because of the situation, some men may feel a sense of worthlessness and resentment. Some men might take an hour to clean up the house and fetch the kids, but the rest of the day they sleep or play games. In some cases, the wives work and then come home to finish the chores their husbands were meant to do.
This part is what I don't agree with. If your wife is making the money, you guys have a kid, even if you don't have a kid, you should not be spending most of your day just playing games. Because then you're gonna have women that says, oh, I hate it when my husband play video games. Because yeah, I would too. If you're not earning money and you're relying on your wife to do that, you should be the one doing chores. Like, I'm gonna be real honest, I have no sympathy. If you have somebody to support you and love you like that, you should be doing something. Why should you marry them? You marry somebody because you love them, but people change. Did you know that? People can change over the years, and maybe the depression got too much. He just stopped doing the things that he's supposed to do. Depression hits, and I get it. This is where to draw the line with sympathy, right?
Yeah, I think it's just a courtesy kind of thing, man. Like if you're lucky enough to have a significant other who's willing to financially support you, man, it's the least you can do to show them gratitude. Like do the chores and just handle stuff for them and just make their life easier. I will definitely agree with her there. Like if you've got a spouse who's really like down to just like be the financial anchor, then the least you could do is like make their life a little easier and just like, I don't know, man, like just clean up the place and do the lawn. Assuming it's the guy who's not really, making the money. If you're a guy, just do the lawn and just make sure the house is organized, I guess. And once in a while, I guess you could cook something up. Just make her life a little easier if she's down to do that, because it's very rare that you even get a woman who's down to be signing up for that in the first place. So, fair enough.
I was at my lowest, and I was living with my parents still as a teen. I still did like a lot of the chores at home. I won't say all of them because I can't do certain things, but I did so much chores at home. I cooked before they got home because I know they wanted a hot meal. Even as a teen, I did that. So it's like, I have no sympathy for that. If you have somebody who loves you enough to marry you and to work for you, and is okay with you staying at home for a little bit, please do something. Please make sure at least the house is clean. At least she comes home with warm food. A little bit of gesture can show you how much you appreciate your wife.
This explains why more and more men are deciding to drop out of society rather than face it head on, as it just seems to be the easier path. If it's a choice between two paths, one that
It sucks. It's that hard executive decision that you gotta make. I mean, it's just, like I said, we're in an era, a very weird, messed up era, where you might as well just take risks and just come up with ideas and try to make yourself useful through your own fruition. Because landing a job, good luck with that. Just make yourself useful in whatever way that you can possibly think. And I know that in and of itself can be hard because most people don't believe in themselves. I think the burning question really is that you have to ask yourself is, how can I make myself useful to other people? You gotta really dig deep and think about like your talents and what you're good at, and you gotta really have that conversation with yourself. Like, how can I be of service to other people? Like, if you can get other people to be like, oh, I know this guy, he can do this, then you're kind of set if you've got an idea that can revolve around that. But yeah, it starts with that very question: how can I make myself of use to other people? I don't think enough guys are like asking themselves that, because that's like the first burning question, at least for me. And now, admittedly, I myself am in a bit of a hole myself. There are a lot of people who are not asking themselves the proper questions, right?
The problem is that there's a huge group of men, roughly about 7 million in America between the ages of 25 and 55, who are not working and are actively not looking for work. Now, COVID certainly had a hand in accelerating these figures. One question posed to these dropouts was how many of these men were on pain medication, and almost half of these men admitted to taking pain medication daily. And aside from those who desperately need it, these figures could indicate that men are aimlessly numbing themselves to their new reality.
And I remember before, like when I was in high school and early years of college, I would hear all these stories. It's crazy. I would hear all these stories. Oh man, people ending up with degrees and no job, degrees and no job, degrees and no job. And me in school, just an adolescent, young 18, 19-year-old, and I'm just there thinking, this won't happen to me. It won't happen to me. Well, it happened. I can say that. I'll tell you that. It happened.
Problem solving in Generation Z and has already presented problems in finding jobs.
Now that's
they are
another
quick to
whole
quit at the
issue.
first difficult task and move on to find something else. But what happens when options run dry and they find themselves simply stuck in limbo? The warm
So
comfort
sad,
of home
though.
and any sexual needs you have can be satisfied with pixels on
That
a
is
screen.
so sad.
This lifestyle is increasingly becoming more
This
and
is
more
like,
normal.
this is the self-destructive thinking that you gotta get yourself out of. It's tough, man. You just gotta have one of those days. For me, it's just one of those things where like you gotta just dedicate like a day to yourself that like you can just, like I said, just clear your mind, just clean your room, get things in order, get your chores done, and really just think to yourself, have a conversation deep within yourself, like, what am I going to do? How am I going to... There's a whole bunch of other approaches and all that. Give yourself stuff to look forward to. Get into exercise and all that. Eat healthier. Go to sleep on time. And just give yourself plans, man. Make yourself plans. Like, try to fill your week up with, like, things to do. That's really, like, a good way to start it out, right? Like, because if you don't have plans, then that's where the self-indulging and self-destructive behavior begins, right? The busier that you can make yourself, the less depressed you're gonna be. That's at least in my experience.
It's a horrible lifestyle. It's depressing. It's atomizing. What this really
Nobody
is
wants
just
to be
a
like
coping
this.
mechanism.
I'm sure anybody who had a choice, nobody will actively choose this over, you know, being out there and being active and being a good person, having a good lifestyle. Nobody will choose this. You can always find something for yourself. You can always do something. It's just that your brain is telling you that you don't want to do anything. And that is what depression is, pretty much.
We need to address the problem head on. How is the situation getting this bad? These men have completely lost their purpose in life. All of their duty, their hopes, their responsibilities, their own dignity and value. It's being completely decimated at the moment. And we're seeing this with the form of radicalization online,
Yeah.
growing hatred and division, and a general apathy towards society as a whole. And the longer this is ignored, the harder it's going to be addressed down the line. More men today than ever feel disconnected, disillusioned, and left behind by a world that seems increasingly indifferent to their struggles. While GDP numbers and employment stats may sound like an easy, good solution on paper, especially to government bureaucracies, it will never really fix the reality of the situation for normal people. The real challenge we face today in the West is to find purpose and meaning again to have any reason to even want to participate and achieve greatness in society.
The one thing I ask you guys is to do not give up, because the moment you give up, that's the end, right? And especially if you just fall into this lifestyle, just let every day go by. Don't let yourself get to there. If you're already there, just know it's not too late yet. It's not too late. Find a purpose, do your best, and if today didn't work out, try again tomorrow. Ask for help when it gets really, really bad. The other day I said, if you really, really need help, make sure you make enough friends, that some people that you really, really trust, and reach out to them. But then people say, oh no, that's gay. Bro, are you kidding me? If you can't even,
What? Wait, hold on. We're not in the year 2010 anymore. Who says that anymore? That's what? Whoever's saying that to her is pretty old.
don't talk to your homies, your bros. Who are you gonna talk to? Because that's what I do to my female friends. When things are tough, I talk to them and I let my feelings out. But if guys feel like, oh, I don't want to do that because it feels gay, well then who do you have then? Who do you have? Find yourself an online friend, people who likes to play the same game as you, who has the same value, who likes the same thing as you. Come to my server, talk to people. There's always gonna be people there. Just do your best, go out there, make yourself open to opportunities, whether that's making friends or whatever. Just do something for yourself.
Okay, that's the end of that. Final thoughts. Very based Guili, very based VTuber, not gonna lie. I didn't disagree with a single thing. She was very on point with everything. I don't think she missed a bullet point really at all. She just seems to come from a place of very good awareness. She's just kind of ahead of like idea of what she's talking about. She sounds like she actually has a real solid experience in what she's saying, right? Overall, great video, great topic. I mean, albeit, you know, sad and depressing, but what you're gonna do? It is good to tackle these real life situations. So if anyone was wondering that, oh, this is probably happening to only me, no, it's happening to a lot of people, even myself. Your boy is going through that kind of stuff as we speak. So that'll be it. See you guys next week. Yeah.